All right. Welcome to the Scorched Earth podcast for February 25th, 2025. God, we're over a month into the Trump administration. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord. And I'm going to make a confession today. I feel like we're getting to know each other. This is the 41st episode of this political podcast. And I think I could be honest with you. A lot of people put a lot of shame in what I'm going to say, but I feel like we're getting to know each other. Sort of. If you guys would leave comments, I'd know more about you. And then I could blackmail you to subscribe and like. Make sure you hit those buttons, okay? Please. So, it's pretty much in the news all the time, and I got to admit it. I'm transitioning. Yeah. And a lot of people, there's a lot of stigmas from it, and they're justifiable. Some are unwarranted. But I'm here to tell you today that as I transition, it's not without its problems. Now, how can I be so bold? How can I say this on a public venue? You think about it, 100 years from now, this is going to be around. That's probably the best reason to say the world's going to come to an end in about 20 years, but it self-destructs before this reaches perpetuity. But in terms of my transitioning, oh, wait a minute. You didn't think I was transitioning from a man. I think I'm a man, right? Into a cisgender, a lady, whatever. No. Something far worse. Something far, far worse. I'm transitioning from cable TV to streaming. And let me tell you something. The other might be easier. It might be less difficult. I've been dealing with this streaming box. And as we have documented many times, and as super producer Stacy will be my witness, I am literally retarded when it comes to technology. Whatever it is, I have no clue of what is going on, right? And I transitioned a couple months ago to the streaming box because what they tell you is it's $5 a month cheaper than keeping your cable box. Believe me, if I would have known it, I'd have told them to F off. I'll pay $50 more. Let me just keep the box. I didn't know what I was getting into. So one of the after effects of this transition segment of my life, God, I hope my parents don't hear this podcast. They're not going to really understand it. But they're old. I can just blame my sister. So I have, since we went to the little box, the streaming item, whatever it is, Roku, whatever it is, I come home and I turn my TV on. This probably happens 2 days a week. And I get no sound. I get the picture. Now, you want to talk about something infuriating? Like, wow, you're watching a TV show without any words. I don't know what would be the worst. I'm watching it and I'm trying to imagine what they're going to say on Big Bang Theory or Seinfeld or whatever, but I'm not smart enough. So then I call the cable company. Yes, I call Spectrum. Obviously, I'm a masochist, but I do it. And you literally get 10 minutes of AI. AI is trying to direct your call to the most appropriate representative. Yeah, right. What that's called is they're trying to get rid of as many representatives as they can, right? It's infuriating on infuriating. And the other day when this happened, they said, is your problem cable or internet? And I kept saying, cable. And they said, I cannot hear you. Please repeat again. And I was like, cable. Literally, I sounded, by the end of that little segment of the conversation, I sounded like I had Tourette's. Okay? You already know me. You know I'm going to be dropping an F-bomb as long as it's not in the first 10 minutes, right? Super producer Stacy. So I go through these conversations, and I've probably been through 10 or 12 of them since December. And finally, I got to my F it all moment. And that was on Thursday. I got home, and there was no sound. So I called him. We figured out something, and every solution is different. It's unique. It's different. I'm telling you, I've replaced HDMI cables, Ethernet cables, Zemo boxes. I have started the TV up again. I've unplugged the TV. I've unplugged the router. I mean, literally, the only thing they haven't made me do is figure out an algorithm to figure out how to get my sound on, right? Like, let's break out the calculator. Let's get the piece of paper and let's start writing, okay? Call me little Albert Einstein, okay? His retarded brother. And so Thursday, the lady comes up with some hypothesis of what it is. And finally, after 30 intimate minutes, I get it started again. I get the sound on. And I said, you know what? Just send out a technician. Okay? So the technician came today. And he's the guy who did the streaming box. And he goes, hey, what's going on? And I explained my lament. And he goes, wow, that's kind of weird. And then he goes through these settings on my TV I didn't even know existed. And he's like, I tell him what different representatives had told me was solution and this and that and this and that. And he is working in the field. He's not some guy looking on a YouTube video in an office in Wisconsin. And he's like, that ain't right. That ain't right. And then he starts going through my TV and he goes, well, I really don't find anything. And I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't good. I go, is it my TV? And he goes, yeah, I think it is your TV. And I go, wow, okay. I mean, I really don't understand it because, the TV works most of the time and every unique solution seems to solve it temporarily, but okay, whatever. And it's kind of like, when women say they go to buy a car, they go to the car mechanic, they really don't know what the person is saying. And they just kind of have to have a leap of faith that what they're being told is true. So I'm like, Sam Hill, I really don't want to go out and buy a TV, but okay, I guess. And then he goes, let me check. And he goes into the settings and literally, I swear there was alien technology in there. There was stuff I had never seen, factory reset this, manual reset that, blah, blah, blah. And he starts going through the remote and literally he's there for 20 minutes going till we can get to, we finally find software updates for my smart TV. And he goes, oh, maybe this is it. And I go, oh, okay. So we do it. Boom. The sound comes back on. Wow. Who would have thought? So I tip the guy. He goes, oh, you don't have to. Let me tell you something. If somebody out there does you guys a solid, really saves you some serious money, my recommendation is to tip. I'll tell you one day about my car engine. That'll be a story down the road. That'll probably be in the life section. But so he's walking out and the other TV doesn't work. And I go, hey man, what about the other TV? I really don't use it, but I don't care. And he goes, oh, let me check it out. And he fixes it. And then he's walking out and he goes, don't ever believe what customer service tells you. They're all a bunch of effing idiots. I said, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to go talk to Stacy Squirrel that she feeds organic nuts to? He doesn't know what that means. And he goes, well, good luck. And then he gives me his phone number. I go, what am I doing with this? He goes, well, if you have any problems, you can call me. And I'm thinking to myself, don't I just schedule an appointment? He goes, really? I have a pretty easy job. And, I only work like 3-4 hours a day. I prefer not to come by. I'll just FaceTime you and we'll figure it out. And I thought, hey, I'm a tech bro. I can do that now. I think. It'll be 2 days till this podcast comes to an end because I've killed myself because the sound doesn't work. But hey, there we go, right? So once again, welcome to the Scorched Earth podcast for February 25th, 2025. I'm your host, John. First off, please hit that subscribe and like button like I asked you earlier and leave a comment. Tell me about your cable experience. See how your transitioning went because it's not going well for me. It's not going well. I'm telling you, I'm in stasis. I am I don't know, what's cisgender maybe. I think I'm between genders still. I still haven't really landed in the streaming world, and I still feel like I got a place in the cable world. I don't know. Maybe I ought to just go to the telephone and telegraph. I don't know. Hey, carrier pigeon. Maybe that'll be it. All right. So we're taking no prisoners. We're telling no lies. And here we go with our stories for today. All right. In an apocalyptic shift in world relations, I have a funny feeling I'm going to be using that first sentence quite a bit during the Trump administration. Under Donald Trump, the United States is split from almost a century of European alliances. And by refusing to blame Russia for its invasion of Ukraine in 3 separate votes in the U.S. General Assembly yesterday, in an attempt to, they had them on the 3-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, Russia is on the Security Council. There's 5 members. Any one of the 5 can block a resolution that goes through. I think the 5 members are the United States, France, England, China, and Russia. But in the General Assembly, they can't stop resolutions from coming to the floor. And basically, France, other European allies put a resolution on the floor condemning Russia for invading Ukraine. Sounds pretty reasonable. We've had 3 years of it. Joe Biden, where are you? We miss you. So, in the UN General Assembly vote, the U.S. joined Russia in voting against a Ukrainian resolution that calls out Moscow's aggression and invasion of Ukraine and demands an immediate withdrawal of Russian troops. We've all seen a million theories on why Trump is so submissive to Putin. I've seen him, and I really don't even know what the truth is there. I don't understand why he is so cozy with the dictatorships of North Korea, China, and Russia. It fascinates me, really. And I have done some deep dives. I've sat literally for 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon contemplating it. Of course, for 2 hours and 59 minutes, I'm taking a nap. But that 1 minute I'm awake, man, it's full bore. I'm thinking about it. No, seriously, I don't understand what the illusion or the attraction is there, but all right. So the U.S. then abstained from voting on its own competing resolution after Europeans led by France succeeded in amending it to make clear Russia was the aggressor. The voting was taking place on the 3rd anniversary of Russia's invasion, and as Trump was hosting French President Emmanuel Macron in the White House. It was a major setback for Trump on the world stage, as the 193-member voting body overwhelmingly voted for the resolution condemning Russia. I believe there was only 5 votes. It was 188 to 5, I believe. These resolutions are not legally binding. Obviously, there's no UN police to enforce it or army, but they are seen as a barometer of how the world views things. And it did come as a shock that the United States sided with Russia. And there we go. Then, because, facing that slap in the face on the international scene wasn't enough, Trump then doubled down and said if a deal is not reached in the Russia-USSR war, it could spill over and cause World War III. It's a funny thing. Biden seemed to navigate it real well for 3 years. He gave him the Stinger missiles. He gave him the advanced weapon systems. Yeah. Didn't seem to have a World War III under him. But don't worry, if we do under Trump, because our nuclear weapons are unguarded at the 1,800 facilities that they laid off all the personnel in the United States, hey, we'll just blame Biden. Or maybe we can go back down the rabbit hole and somehow blame Barack Obama. Hey, I haven't heard Trump blame him for anything in quite a while. What's the problem? So at the White House, there was a very interesting exchange between French President Macron and Donald Trump. Trump started out by falsely claiming that Europe was merely loaning Ukraine money and would get it back. Macron bitch slapped him and said, no, in fact, we paid the money. We actually have given over 60% of the aid to Ukraine. And it was just like the United States, loans, grants, and aid. We don't expect it back. I mean, like we've talked about on this podcast, is anybody at the end of this Israeli war going to ask for Israeli money back? I mean, we've been loaning them effing money for 70 years, or giving them aid. And I agree with the aid. I'm not coming down against it because I think aid builds friendships. If you can give money to them and they can feed their people, you're going to have an ally. We already have enough enemies. We don't need more. Trump is definitely doubling the size of our enemy population. Okay? Ukraine is a democracy on the doorstep of Russia. We should support them. They are believers. We don't need to give in to the bullies. And make no mistake, China's looking over there going, wonder how he's going to handle Ukraine. Well, we got Taiwan right there. Yeah, make no mistake, that's coming. So after that, Macron said, we have $230 billion in frozen assets, Russian, on the continent, but it is not ours. It is frozen. We're not going to seize it. And it brings me up to an interesting question. Russia, by everybody in the normal world, invaded Ukraine. Okay? We've loaned you, we've given aid. God, I'm so caught up in this Trump nonsense. We've given them $175 billion in aid, right? Why are we asking them for the money back? They are defending themselves. They're a democracy. Why aren't we taking some of the $750 billion in frozen Russian assets and just taking the $175 billion out of that? Hey, you don't like it? F yourself. Oh, you're going to freeze our money? Yeah, it's fine. We'll just pull our companies out. I'm telling you right now, Biden has destroyed Russia. Russia is never going to be the same. Yeah, they're going to be something. Trump's going to build them up to something. But what do? I mean, they're not a trading partner like Canada. They're not a trading partner like Europe. What are we going to get out of them? We're not on the continent. We don't have a gas pipeline here. We're not getting oil from them. What are we getting from them? Nothing. Not an effing thing. So just take their stuff. I mean, if that's the way we're going to play, he wants to be a thug. He wants to think like Trump wants to be a gangster. All right, take the other gangster stuff. Let's go. The Colombo family is going against the Gambino family. All right, let's see who's stronger. I'm not too worried about that. All right. I just don't get it. I just don't get why he and Putin are little bed buddies. I really don't, man. Ugh, lordy. All right. So let's continue with the next big story, the federal email circus. This is where Elon Musk told all these people, all these tens of thousands of federal employees, that they had to talk about 5 things they accomplished last week. And if they didn't respond by midnight on Monday, East Coast time, they were going to be fired. Well, then Trump, because he just can't shut that pie hole that's on his face, said that those who don't comply would be semi-fired or fired. All right. The dumb leading the dumber. But wait, 2 hours later, his own administration contradicted him. OPM, who he named the head for a month ago, informed agencies that response would be voluntary. And that actually the email was against the law. Oh, wow, go figure. Most agencies have fought back against Musk's email. They include the DOJ. Guess Pam Bondi kind of laid down on that one. State Department, where's Marco Rubio? Oh, wait, he's in Saudi Arabia trying to cut a deal to screw the Ukrainians. Pentagon, oh, is there anybody left after all the mass firings? FBI, oh, Kash Patel, there's a tool. We're going to have a story about him sometime this week. I'm telling you, there is literally the most incompetent person in the world leading that organization. Department of Homeland Security and Department of Energy. Makes me wonder, now that the Trump administration is leading, has all the levers of government, has the Congress, has the Senate, when are we going to get to the bottom of that 2020 voter fraud? Yeah, I'm waiting. You've had House hearings, you've had House inquiries, you've had House studies for 2 years led by James Comer, committees, investigations, still haven't seen an effing thing. Yeah, I'm waiting for it, folks. All right, we're going to end up with some odd things in the news. So in the Trump administration, they're downsizing. Let's get some tallies here. 1,600 workers for the U.S. Agency for International Development have been fired, and the remaining have been placed on administrative leave. Now, you're sitting here and saying, what does this agency do? This agency actively recruits foreign businesses to come and invest in America and employ workers. Don't think we need that, right? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's good. 6,000 people at the IRS have been laid off, and this is in the middle of tax season. Wouldn't you think he'd wait till after April 15th? Looks like I can claim a couple more deductions. All right, let's go. John's going to be a millionaire. All right, Laura Trump, I guess after Trump couldn't strong-arm her into getting Marco Rubio's Senate seat from Florida when he became Secretary of State, they tried everything they could to get DeSantis to name her as the senator, and even DeSantis goes, that broad crazy. I can't do that. Sorry. That's my Ron DeSantis. Tell me, what do you think? Terrible. Yeah, you got me there. Laura Trump now has a Fox News show, and she started it out last night, by declaring that Donald Trump was a champion of women. I can't hear you out there, but I can hear the giggles. Yeah, he's a champion of women. The Dobbs decision. Yeah, he's a real winner. Yeah, he's a champion of women. Yep. Also, another little headline in the news. Trump administration directs ICE agents to find, deport unaccompanied migrant children. So I started digging deeper into that story. And in the last 3 years, by estimates, 600,000 unaccompanied minors have come into the United States. Now, you'd assume they're going to live with family, friends, whatever. It makes you wonder, are they going to start scooping up kids at school? If you remember back to the first Trump administration, we had the kids in cages, and they were separating them from their families. And this is exactly part 2 of that. And I don't agree with the deportation edict, okay? But there's reasonable people who can make the argument for it, okay? But there is nobody, and I mean nobody, in this goddamn world who can convince me that you need to deport a kid without their parents. What does that kid do? What are you doing to mom and dad? Their kid goes, are they ever going to see him again? Oh, I don't want to hear, oh yeah, they'll probably find. You know what? Anybody out there who sides with this effing administration and their immorality, you know what? I got an idea. Why don't you take your kid, take the cell phone out of their hand, because believe me, I ain't going to let them keep the cell phone, put them in the middle of Nebraska and see if they find their way back to you. Let's see. Let's see how that works. Yeah. Oh no, how about we do a different one? We'll take your kid and we'll put him in Mexico City, see if they can make it back. Yeah. You know what? As you do to my brothers, you do unto me. Little biblical verse there, right? How can people live in a country where this is the policy of our administration? Deporting kids, not letting mom and dad know. How many parents on any level would let their kids go to school? Think about it. You're a parent, you're a mom, you're a dad, and you realize, okay, my kid's undocumented, I'm undocumented. They go to school, ICE is outside, they get scooped up. I'm never going to see them again. I don't know if I could send my kid to school. I really don't. And maybe that's the goal. I don't know. Maybe, more people can work in Mar-a-Lago, right? Finally, one of the most evil people in the world, Mitch McConnell, has announced he won't seek re-election. He'll have served 42 years in the Senate, 18 years as the Senate Republican leader. He's the guy who held up Merrick Garland from being on the Supreme Court in 2016. He was Obama's pick, and he blocked it in February and said, we will decide this when we have a new president. And Trump beating Hillary Clinton meant that, it went from 5-4 to 6-3, and then eventually we got Kavanaugh, we got Amy Barron Cohen, and lordy, what a quagmire we got there. It's just signs and wonders. What are you going to do, right? There we go. All right. So we're at the end of today's podcast, but like I've said before, please don't cry. It may be over, but we will be joyful because tomorrow we'll be here again. We will be here again tomorrow. Hey, I'm trying to learn my lines, okay? I ain't a method actor. This is real. This is spontaneous, okay? All right, so if you could, once again, please hit the like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. I see our numbers are going up a little. Kind of hardens me a little. I actually put up a short yesterday. Yeah, I'd say it's riveting, but I could barely see. All right, you guys have a good day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.